Hey Hotshots, Jess with Emotional Fire Academy here today to talk about things that the HSP groups do not want you to hear or realize or come to the conclusion of, as I found out myself in the last few weeks. Dun dun dun! Welcome to Emotional Fire Academy. Subscribe if you're ready to be more than you are now, if you're ready to really develop your superpowers, if you're ready to step into consciousness, claim yourself, be everything you can be, that's what we do on this channel, really. And we're going to go really deep today, and I'm going to get pretty personal with you about where I've been over the last few weeks. So thank you to those who are subscribed. Who am I? I'm Jess. I'm a master NLP practitioner, former firefighter, former highly sensitive person. I cut the cord for good this week. So thank you for respecting. I took a couple weeks off from this channel. I've been going through my own evolution, right? As a teacher, I have to keep learning and growing so that I have things to teach everyone. And I kind of had some pretty big realizations in the last few weeks. And I wanted to share them with you and kind of give you a different perspective maybe on the whole HSP thing. Now, a while ago, I made a video about HSP debunked. I'll link it above. But at that point, I did not have the courage to say this isn't a real thing. I included kind of a question exercise that you could have expanded your mind a little bit. I got really mixed reviews on that video because I can sense that the people who were looking for the information that I could have given and I didn't give because I was a little bit fearful of giving it, I'm going to give it in this video. So here we are, no holes barred. My opinions on the highly sensitive scene. Now I'm going to stop you here. If you are someone who found this video and you are flying the flag of HSP, you think this is the best thing that has ever happened to you, you think that, this is a real superpower for you, this is not the video for you. This is not the video for you. You're welcome to watch, but the things that I say might not resonate with you. So you've been warned. But I suspect if you're on my channel, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that my advice is very practical. I don't believe in suffering. Like, my core beliefs are not suffering. I don't think anyone should suffer. I suffered for a decade. I was ready to kill myself to get out of it. I don't want people to have to go to that extreme length to have to experience that before they extricate themselves. I don't think suffering is something we have to subscribe to. I don't think being highly sensitive is something we have to subscribe to. And I've been more and more vocal about this lately because I've started to realize, because I was in a lot of the HSP Facebook groups, I started to realize the normalization of misery that was happening there. That they're not so much support groups as it's kind of edging on a cult, guys. I mean, and that's the first thing that popped into my mind, because as I took a step back from this, it's kind of cultish when you want people to tell a certain narrative. And if they don't, you kick them out of the group, which is what happened to me a couple weeks ago. Someone in the group asked, hey, can I ever be normal again? Is there some modality I can use, therapy, whatever, that can help me be more normal and not be in so much pain? I just answered the guy's question. I said, sure, this is what I found. This was my experience. I'm just sharing it with you. Take it for what take it or leave it. Totally up to you. I gave him 2 modalities. So this is what really helped me. And shortly after that, several people lashed out at me and said, you don't know what you're talking about. And then I was literally blocked from the group, which shocked me, with no explanation, no contact from the admins. Now, I'm not making myself a victim of this, because I know I'm creating my own reality. I know that my interpretation of this and my beliefs helped bring this situation into reality. So we're going to go deeper into this. But I think it was because I had started to realize like this isn't, these groups don't advocate growing or healing or getting out of the HSP personality type. And that started to bother me. And I think I was more willing to step up and say, this doesn't have to be your reality. Recently, and I have been suggesting this in a lot of my recent videos, and I've had some great comments. I've had some, one lady, I believe, who was talking about, taking on these labels of pop psychology are kind of detrimental. And I'm standing in that place now of believing that and seeing that in my reality and seeing the effects of it and really being against using the label of HSP to describe yourself, because that in itself is a limiting story. Be wary of a limiting story. My story, my narrative to you is you can be, do, and have anything you desire. Literally. We're creating our realities. We're literally, our brains unconsciously simulate reality. That 90% prediction that I talk about in my videos. 90% prediction, 10% sensory input. 90% of what we're experiencing, we are predicting with our own mental simulations. So if you start simulating that you are happy, healthy, in control of life, not bothered by anything, that is then who you literally become. This isn't your fate to be an HSP. You weren't, this is just a construction of a human named Elaine Aron who herself projected this onto all of us and is making us believe that this is a real thing. I don't think this is a real thing. And when I mean real, sure, the experience of HSP is real. It's real, sure. You can experience it as real. You can stand in the consciousness of being an HSP. I did it for 10 years. I get it. But being on the other side of it, let me show you from the other side. Anything that limits you, any story that makes you smaller, that you actually believe about yourself, then you take away opportunities from you strip opportunities from yourself. Because what's real is what's available to you, whether or not you believe in it. What's available to you is that you're infinite potential. You're infinite potential. I'm infinite potential. The Pope is infinite potential. None of us have to assume a label and say, this is who I am, especially a label that comes with such a heavy cost of overthinking, overfeeling, overreacting, feeling like you're different, weird, and I had another comment about, I subscribed to this because it made me feel special again. You are special. You have always been special, regardless of the HSP label. You always will be special. Because special is an option in your menu of infinite potential. Like, you never weren't special. And so, again, if you like being HSP, if you think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, I applaud you. I give you my blessing. But if you want to be more, if you want to step outside of this, if you want to realize real superpowers, keep watching my channel. Keep watching my channel, because that's what I do. I help us break out of limiting stories, because limiting stories confine us to a particular consciousness that we then experience life through, and that becomes our reality. So if you don't want to make that real, what you do is you go start telling a different story. You just tell a different story, and then that's who you become. Your personality is literally a collection of habits. That is it. You can change a habit lightning fast. What about people who go from being a smoker to a non-smoker? Cold turkey. They just something really meaningful and significant happens to them. And in an instant, they decide, I am never doing this again. I'm never picking up a cigarette again. That's how much power you have. You have that much power to literally step into a different personality instantaneously and maintain it. I accidentally found my way out of being HSP. I did it from the point of I want to feel better. That was my goal. I want to feel better. And as I prioritize feeling better, I accidentally dropped the HSP identity. It's that easy. That's how simple. I did it by accident. If I can do it by accident, you can do it intentionally. So, yeah, I'm just cautioning you against any story that makes you small, because you're big. You're a big enchilada, my friend. You really are. I'm not just saying that as like a, positive psychology. Like, you literally have more power than you even realize. And as I have explored this, as I transcended HSP, transcended the emotional issues, stopped letting emotions control me, I started to go into places of, starting to then consciously shape my reality, which I have also hinted to on this channel. Guess what? We're going to talk more about that because, as a teacher, as a YouTube influencer, I have to live my truth. That's the only way that I feel authentic and genuine, is living the truth that I teach you guys. And I talk all the time about honoring your heart. And I have been dying to talk more and more about consciousness, about consciously creating, about, stepping into that hero self. So I am going to be pivoting this channel more towards that, more towards stepping into the hero self through intentional self-discipline of the mind, which is essentially what we have been doing, but I'm going to start using more of that language. So I'm going to talk less about HSP stuff. If you are an HSP and you've enjoyed my channel's still going to help you. And maybe you aren't HSP and you've been watching my channel and you thought to yourself, well, this helps me even though I'm not identifying as HSP. Exactly. So I'm going to not be tagging so much stuff as, for highly sensitive people. I'm going to be moving more towards, stepping into the heroic self, stepping into your best self, stepping into creating reality, making your dreams happen. Because one of the things I find the little life preservers that HSPs in the Facebook groups were holding on to and claiming was that HSP is a superpower. Being a highly sensitive person is a superpower. I have a hard time wrapping my head around that because I'm not sure if that's referring to, the fact that you're sensitive and you appreciate the petals of a flower and the color. I mean, that's something you can be and experience whether you're HSP or not. Or the fact that you're empathic, which I made a video about how empathy doesn't really help anyone. Check that out above. I'm not sure what the superpower is in subscribing to a personality type that causes so much suffering. I fail to see the superpower. But I do respect you if that's how you've labeled it, to make it through the personality type. Now, when I actually did a poll in the group before I exited it about, would you drop this? Would you drop HSP? About 300 people responded to me. The people who did say it was a superpower, even them said, yes, it's a superpower, but it's really hard. There was that caveat of, but it's really hard. So superpowers don't have to come with the price of suffering. Let me tell you about the next level of superpowers. The self-realization to extricate from your own suffering. The self-realization, as you uncover these layers of your consciousness, as you develop the mental self-discipline to peel this stuff back, you realize that suffering in any form is completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. Especially if you've suffered a lot in life already. You've done your fair share, my friend. It's time to have joy, love, expansion, knowledge, wisdom, patience, acceptance. It's time for more of that stuff. You know, you've suffered enough. You have suffered enough. Believe me, I promise you, you've suffered enough. If you've gone through the HSP identity gamut, you have suffered plenty, my darling. It's time to, maybe it's time to, you know, experience more joy, pleasure, happiness, love. So that's a real superpower, to be like, I don't have to, suffering is optional. Coming to that point of self-realization. And how do you do that? Through learning the things that I teach on my channel, realizing who you are, realizing where you are in consciousness, realizing how to aim your consciousness through language, physiology, and conditioning, the emotional fire triangle. I was telling a client last week, it's like the scope on a gun. That emotional fire triangle is a scope. And when you learn how to aim it, then you can project what you want into the field of consciousness and see it manifest as your reality. That is a superpower. That is mind-blowing. That is mind-blowing. Visualizing your desires into reality. That is the essence of creation. That's what we came here to do, I think. That is, to me, the biggest superpower of them all. When I manifest something, when I intentionally aim my consciousness, shoot it out into the field, and then watch it come back to me as exactly what I planned, that is incredible. That's a superpower. That's like, I can't even describe the feeling. Fulfillment that you feel that when you're like, wow, I made this happen. You know, you could have felt that as an entrepreneur or an inventor. This is what inventors feel when they get this great idea and they see it in their head and then they bring it into reality. They make it manifest. That's what manifestation is. Summoning things from the ether and making them into, you know, tangible reality. That is amazing. So that's what I'm pivoting my channel to. I would love for you to come on this journey with me. Many of you already have been on this journey. Let's keep going. Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper into consciousness. Let's go deeper into self-realization. Again, I will be using less and less HSP terminology. That's okay. What I say will help everyone. It's applicable to everyone. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for realizing your own potential and accepting it and asking yourself, if I could be, do, and have anything, what would I choose? And then looking towards that instead of accepting labels that make us feel small, in pain, upset, having to hide from the world, less than. It's so 1985. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. I'm sure I'm going to get lots of comments on this one. So have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.